So we looked at when 100 units were stocked, and we looked at when 102 units were stocked. Now let's think about if 105 components are stocked. What's the probability that 100 orders can be filled without reordering? Okay, so let's name a random variable y, and that is the number of defective units, however you want to call that, in 105. Okay, so we've got an inventory of n equals 105. And we want to know what's the probability that we can get all 100 orders fulfilled if we have 105 in inventory. Okay, well, we have to count the number of defective components, and we can't have more than 5 defective components. If we have 6 defective components, that means that we have only 99 good ones on inventory, and we can't fulfill 100 orders with 99 units or fewer. Okay, so we can only have at most 5 defective units. So what's the probability that y is less than or equal to 5? Okay, that's the probability that y equals 0 plus the probability that y equals 1 all the way to the probability that y equals 5. Okay, y equals 2, y equals 3, y equals 4, up to y equals 5. Okay, so again, this is a binomial problem. Okay, we're out of these 105, we're going to pick none that are defective. Okay, the probability of an individual defective was 0.02. We're going to raise that to a 0. The probability of a non-defective, 1 minus 0.02, that's 0.98, raised to the 105. Okay, now let's find the probability that y equals 1. 105, choose 1, 0.02 to the 1, 0.98 to the 104. And we won't do all of these. I think you might get the hang of this. Now let's just do this last one. 105, choose 5, 0.02 to the 5, 0.98 to the 100. Okay? And if we were to work this out, this probability is 0.9808. Okay? That says if we have 105 units of inventory, what's the probability that we can fill 100 orders having some number of defects such that we can fulfill those 100 orders without reordering? 0.98. 98% of the time, we're not going to have to reorder if we have 105 units of inventory. Okay? So you can imagine as an industrial engineer or as a warehouse manager or something like that, this might give you a good idea of how many units that you need to have of inventory. If we had 100 units, we were only able to fulfill our order 13% of the time. If we have 102 units, we can fulfill the order 66, 67% of the time. If we have 105 units, just 3 units more than this, we're going to be fulfilling our 100 orders 98% of the time without having to reorder. Okay, this is an important exercise to go through if you're having to make a decision about what's the size of inventory that I should be holding on to.